Magic lies in the mind.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you guys to a video idea I may keep doing as long as you guys find it helpful and or useful. The topic for this video is for a certain group of heroes that don't get as much attention anymore because most players consider them useless or too easily exploitable, etc, etc. I'm talking about mages, but more specifically, immobile mages. And as you can probably tell from the thumbnail, this video focuses on a subcategory of mages that I like to call a super zoner. Specifically Pharsa, or if you live in Spain or any other Spanish speaking country and you have this game setting set to Spanish, it's Pharsa. So we'll call this How to Be a Better Mage Player During Games, Immobile Super Zoner Edition. Of course, since mostly everyone doesn't know how to play Pharsa correctly, I gathered my thoughts and opinions and then cross-checked them with a top global and Pharsa main, Peach. So I want to offer all credits to this phenomenal player for allowing me to use the content on their channel, which I will post in the description, and for allowing me to present in a way that I think will be more useful to you guys. Of all the things we went over, we decided on a couple of critical factors to properly use Pharsa. The first one was the priority of skill upgrades. Let me show you what I mean. When you pick Pharsa in-game, the order in which you maximize your skills is as follows. See, the common error is that people want to upgrade skill 2 first for quote-quote maximum damage. But in reality, it should be skill 1 for maximum damage. Skill 1 actually increases your magic power permanently, so she has an integrated holy crystal basically from maximizing skill 1. And that, in general, upgrades the power of all your skills. So maximizing skill 1 equals boosting your other skills' magic power. Speaking of skill 1, never ever use it to chase your enemies. Sure, you can use it to travel and to build distance between you and your opponents, but never ever use it to chase an enemy. Because they can counter gank you, and then guess what? You have no means of escaping. Oh, and you also gain 208.75% of movement speed, and eventually it'll slow down to about 130%. Only in bird form, okay? Bird form only. You know, when you have wings and you can fly, actually she becomes a mist around it, but let's not talk about that. It's actually kind of a sad story. Eventually you'll get good at both precision and speed, so like someone famous said, speed, precision, and strength. Second priority, aiming your ultimate. Now there's no real guide to aiming your ultimate with Pharsa, and of course there's some, tricks like using flicker to cover that extra gap and all that. But the one thing that Pharsa will teach you is how to predict every single hero in Mobile Legends. How they move, gank, and interact with enemies for the most part. So even if you decide that Pharsa is not for you in the long run, learning to play her can help you become insanely good at predicting enemy ganks and counter ganking with other heroes. Trust me, it is totally worth it to learn her. Oh, and whatever you do, do not spam the ultimate. You need to be precise, not fast. Third thing I want to talk about before getting into builds is tower trapping, as Peach calls it, or super zoning as I call it. Basically what it involves are a couple of positions you will see on the screen. You can use these positions to gain full control of an enemy's tower and not allow them to defend it. What you see here is being done on towers, but the same idea applies to Pharsa and most other areas of the map. Sometimes it isn't safe to defend a tower, and in those cases, Pharsa may be the only one actually able to help due to her range. Last but most definitely not least, we have to go over the builds. We will go over Peach's build first. Peach takes a full burst emblem and a lightning truncheon based build, which is actually really good on mages that focus on one-hit knockout builds. The idea behind this build, besides building strong burst damage, is being able to more precisely land your ultimate and land it a lot more times before enemies can escape the range due to the Ice Queen wand. Everything post Ice Queen is pretty simple to understand. We are just adding more and more damage. Lots of it. Now, my variation on the build is pretty much the same for the most part, but I opt for a more solo queue scenario since that is where I spend most of my time in ranked games. This build is actually pretty much max lightning truncheon damage, but since I usually can't trust my teammates, I end up getting a lot of HP based items. and Dominance Eyes to help me in case some really strong ADC comes within melee range of me. Granted, it doesn't do nearly as much damage as Peach's build, but I do get my Divine Glaive at the end in place of Boots. We both also use the same talent, but again, a slight variation. I would recommend for you to try out both of them, and in the end, pick what suits your style the most. Bonus tip: Pharsa is actually pretty strong at jungling, which includes stealing crubs. Oh, what the? Bonus tip: Pharsa is actually pretty strong at jungling, which includes stealing crabs, buffs, turtles, and lords. So make sure you make the most of her ultimate and use it to farm when the minions' waves are on cooldown. I hope these tips help you become a better mage player, and more specifically, a better immobile mage player. For you tank mains out there, you know exactly how strong a good Pharsa is, since you're the main guy defending her. Thanks for watching, guys. Zero out.